Welcome class to week 8, and just keep in mind that this is a double up week. This means that we have 2 weeks in one. So remember, there's some weeks it's going to be like this because this was a late start class. Now what I do is I give us extra video notes that you have to take. So I usually separate Greece from Rome. But since there is a kind of natural development, between the Greco world into the Roman world, and Rome actually ended up becoming a Greco-Roman world, which you'll learn more about later. For example, in the Eastern Roman Empire, the language mainly used is Greek, and in the West, it's going to be Latin. And the Greek Orthodox Church, for example, sees itself as following the legacy of Rome. And if, for those of you who grew up Christian or have studied Christianity, you know that the New Testament is written reflecting times around the Roman occupation of ancient Palestine, when it was actually just Judea and Samaria, and that the main language that was used, the language used for the New Testament was Greek, written in a Roman context. So I'm not going to explain all that here, and we'll go over more of that when we get into Christianity later on. But for now, this is the best kind of way of bringing things together. And much of Rome, I make a quote in one of the lectures that should always be memorable, that many of Romans would lament after they conquer Greece. They would say something to the effect of, "Captive Greece holds Rome captive," referring to the fact that so much of Roman culture ends up borrowing so heavily from the Greek world that you almost wonder what was originally Roman, in a certain sense. Although there was a change, there was shifts, and you'll see that in the lectures. So just keep that in mind, that there's a little bit more work for this week in that regard. And if there's any questions, let me know. I think that a lot of you enjoyed learning about Zoroastrianism in Persia. Just one quick thing I'm going to say. I want to remind you that I wanted you to think about the term monotheism, henotheism, and polytheism. Keep in mind that most religions, like these are words that are invented in the Western world. I mean, the idea of believing in one God is fundamental to Judaism and Islam, and Christianity. So, there's Deuteronomy 6:4 in the Torah. It says, "Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad." Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is Echad, one. And Jesus quotes that in the New Testament. There's this idea of the oneness of God. In Islam, which we'll learn more about later, there is this idea, in the Quran it says, Allah Ahad, God is one. Lam Yalid wa Lam Yulad. But now they say, He did not beget nor was begotten. They don't believe in personification, that God would come in the form of flesh. They don't believe in the Trinity, but they believe in one. So in other words, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam make very clear that they are saying that they are representing a religion of one God. But within Christianity in particular, we have the complex idea of the Trinity and Catholicism, the situation of saints. And then sociologists invented the word henotheism to represent the idea that other God, the difference between a religious system like Islam and Judaism that clearly say there's literally no other gods but God. And Islam, I think, is much more clear on that. If you look at the language of the Quran. And then there's religions like Zoroastrianism that says other gods exist, but the one true God is Ahura Mazda. Okay? And so, anyhow, I just wanted you to see how these things can be thought about differently and how there can be debate about it. So I hope you found that constructive. Realize also that most people have never heard the word henotheism, It is a more academic word. I think it is a more helpful, in my opinion, and precise way of explaining various religious traditions that are usually put into the monotheistic camp. But yet they have enough acknowledgement of other deities that it still feels like it's playing a little bit with polytheism, and it's that in-between thing. So I do think it's kind of a more precise way of identifying certain ones, but that's debatable. So you'll see textbooks that say that Akhenaten of Egypt was a monotheist and that Zoroastrianism is monotheist. Muslims have generally acknowledged Zoroastrians as monotheists, a believer in one God. But some, social scientists kind of say, well, I think it's more closer to a different type of concept, and they came up with this term, henotheism. So, all right. So for those of you who care about that stuff, that's interesting. If not, I get it. Whatever. Have a good week. Give me a call if you have any issues. Thanks.